Welcome to Hanging with Bears. It is Friday, February 18th, shortly after 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. Our guest this evening is the Sad Berry. He's a bear from the Ozarks of Missouri, close to my old stomping grounds. That should be a good conversation. What's up for Mama Bear? What's up, Miles? Welcome, Jacqueline Dolan. Thanks for joining us. I just said the guest tonight is the Sad Berry. He should be with us shortly. Welcome, Justine. Just wait for a few more people to roll in. There's our guest. What's up, dude? And all right. Well, we got a few people here. Welcome, Deep Blue Sea Bear. Welcome, Van Dutch. Welcome, Ryan. So just before we bring the guest on, just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that there was a big announcement today that Hanging with Bears has been added to the unbearablesmedia.com site. So that's it's an honor, really, to be added there. So, somewhat of a celebration over here, and yeah, it's amazing what the guys are doing with that whole project, Unbearables Media, and everyone involved is awesome, and it's a great place where all of our creators have a spot, and so now we have a spot there as well. Welcome, Mags Mommy. Welcome, Keeper of the Mountain Bear. Welcome, Trees, Bees, Knees, and we'll go ahead and bring our guest in now. Oh, no. Sorry. There we go. Oh, no. Sadberry, it's telling me, it's a pop-up that says that you will need to get the latest version of Instagram to join the live stream. I'm not sure. Usually when you join, you'll see a little pop-up go across the chat that says request to join live. And if you want to try that, if you want to try to leave and pop back in and look for the little request to join and press that. And if you don't see that, you might have to do the update to come on, because it's getting a pop-up on that, unfortunately. Here, I'll take a screenshot. I've never seen that before. That's I've done almost 100 of these, and I've not seen that yet. But it's a pop-up saying specifically that you need to update the latest version. So yeah, I know. What's up, Equispare? What's up, Clark Bear? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I had to do something one time. Well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to try to be able to have media during the stream, and I know it can be done because I've seen other people do it. Maybe by Jim Bob does it, where he'll show a video clip, and then his face goes into a little picture-in-picture, and it shows the video clip he wants to show. So I was wondering how to do that, and I thought that maybe I wasn't seeing the option. I thought maybe it was because I needed to update to the latest version, and I'm a no update guy. I hate updates, so I always turn off auto update, and I never update anything unless an app like twists your arm and forces you to, or it's like WhatsApp will do that. WhatsApp will be like, oh, you can't use this anymore unless you take the update. So I opted to update Instagram to try to see if it would give me that add media option. And after the update, I still didn't have the option. So I started exploring further, and I'm thinking it must be an Apple versus Android issue. And that's what the answer was. It's anybody that's doing the media during a live stream is an Apple user on an iPhone, and that option is not available for Android users, unfortunately. I still stand by Android. Apple is I don't know. Don't trust the bitten apple. I don't like that corporation, and I'm not saying they don't have good products. I know they have good products. I don't like the corporation, their policies, and stuff like that. What's up, Barley Mob Bear? What's up, Everett? What's up, Inventor Bear? Welcome, Tammy. Welcome, Brandon John. Welcome, Liberty Stead Bear. We're just having some technical difficulties tonight with the guest. We went to add him to the stream, and it said that he needs to update to the latest version of Instagram to be added. So I've never seen that pop up before, but hopefully, there, it looks like we're good now. Is it going to work? Hopefully. It said at the bottom of the screen, it said that he sent a request, which is what it normally looks like. And I pressed it and go live. So it should go live. It's really weird. Try again. Thanks for your patience, everybody. Nope. Back to wonky. Oh, Bonanza Bear. Welcome, Bonanza Bear. Sad Berry, I'm gonna try to invite you from my end. We'll see if it works this time. Yeah, not your fault. Not your fault. We've run into this kind of not exact thing, but stuff like this has happened in the past. I think we had one guy that is just like Instagram banned him from going live. So welcome, Gunny Beru. We're having some technical difficulties tonight adding the guest. I'm going to try one more time. Hopefully it works. What's up, Teddy Bear? Thanks for joining us. Having some technical difficulties adding the guest tonight. And yeah, not looking good. He's here. He's in the house. He's trying to go live, but it even said at first it said he had to. There was a pop-up that said that he had to update the latest version before he could go live, and I think he went and left and updated and came back, and now it's acting like it's doing all the pop-ups are saying go live with, and all the stuff looks right, but then it's not bringing him on. Welcome, Olive Tree Bear. Welcome, High King Bear. Thanks for joining us, guys. Printer Bear, welcome. He said he's going to leave and come back. Yeah, try one more time. Maybe the third time will be a charm. Teddy Bear, who's the guest supposed to be? The Sad Berry. He's a bear out of the Ozarks of Missouri, near where I'm from. So bring in Gunny. He said we might have to turn this into an open mic session if this is not able to work out. He's back now. We're going to try to go live one more time. No, not looking good. What's up, Iron Man Bear? Shit. Dun, dun, dun. Teddy Bear says he's got the documents. Oakland. Yeah, sorry, Sadberry. I was really looking forward to talking to you. It's really unfortunate when stuff like this happens. It's saying, yeah, like I don't know on your end, does it even look like, is it trying to bring your face up? On my end, it's not even, like I'm still full frame, and then it just doesn't do anything. Yeah, I think he left again. Well, shit. Gunny, you wanna hop on here? Robert, what's up, brother? We're having some technical difficulties adding the guest tonight. We're not sure why, but it's not letting him. It's doing all the pop-ups and everything look right, but then it's not. Deep Blue Sea Bear says, try unplugging it and plugging it back in. If that doesn't work, then get the Ethernet cable. Classic. Welcome, Greek Orthodox Bear. That's what I want in the video. I'll try to add the guests one more time. What do you say? Oh, look.
Yo!
Oh, great success.
I'm out in my. I had to come out in my yard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is crazy. Let me see here. See if I can come back in here. I restart. There we go. Are we still good?
You got grainy, but you're still here.
How is it now?
Yeah, talk to me. As long as the audio is good, I think we're good.
All right, cool.
All right. Awesome.
Dude,
okay, excellent.
Sweet, we're all good.
Yeah. Persistence is fertile.
Fertile.
Are you on Wi-Fi or you're on cell data?
Cell. Dude, we don't have internet.
Okay, that's why.
We don't have internet or anything like that. Actually, let me go here. Yeah, I'm going to walk up here. I'm in my basement, so let me see if I can walk up here. I'll go stand in my freaking garage. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I'm on cell data in my basement. I can't figure out why it won't connect.
I don't have Ethernet, dude. I don't know anything about it. The funny thing is, I actually I went and got gas, and I bought a squirt at the gas station, and I meant to step back, take a big drink of my squirt.
That's hilarious. Well, thanks for joining us, dude. Yeah,
Sorry,
that was hectic.
Sorry.
Did you say you're going to a garage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, let me turn my garage on here. There we go. Bingo. This should be better. I don't know if I have to stand here. Dude, I live in the woods, you know? We live out in the woods. It's, there might be a bad echo in here. I don't know. Is it good?
There is an echo, but overall the quality is better than in the house. I hope it's not too cold out there. I know it's February and yeah,
it's pretty chilly. Dude, I got a couple of buddies on here. Nice. Tim, you son of a bitch. Dylan, you dog. You know, bud. That's awesome. My little girl scratched the piss out of me.
That's wild. So you said you're out in the woods. I know you said Ozarks. Are you like in the town of Ozarks or kind of like just south of it or?
I'm south of Ozark.
Okay.
A couple miles south.
Okay. Not as far as Highlandville.
Pretty much east of Highlandville.
Okay.
Out in that area. You remember the hay swings?
Oh yeah, the barn swings.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, nice. And they have those big, tall cell towers out there.
Oh yeah.
But shoot, before we get into the formalities on the local thing, did you ever get into the whole Pensmore Mansion thing?
Pensmore Mansion in Springfield? Oh no,
Yeah.
So I worked with a guy that his like brother, they own like a stereo high-end electronic company, and he went in that place and he talked to the owner and he talked to the brother-in-law. It's kind of, I think that dude just had a shitload of money, like a boatload, and just wanted to basically blow it. It almost makes you think, like, because they did some concrete work and then all this, I mean, we're talking like, I don't know, $1 million in concrete work or more, maybe a couple million. But then they had to tear it all out because they didn't check a mix or they didn't do something right. And it's like, it's not like we're building, a pad for some kind of an air conditioner. It wasn't just a bucket or two. We're talking like millions of yards of concrete, So I think it was almost like, we got to spend a bunch of money, so we're going to do this. And, if it turns out cool, it's cool. If not, it's a big write-off. That's almost how it seems.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, especially with like the follow-ups of the concrete work and the stuff you're talking about. I haven't looked into the story much as of late after the whole concrete work development. But for the people, what I'm talking about is Sad Berry is from right in the same area where I'm from in Missouri. So just south of where we're at, there's this guy built this giant mansion, and it was a conspiracy theory around it. And the guy, Jesse Ventura, that had that kind of, I don't put faith in the show, but it was covered on an episode of the Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory show. So the thing about this mansion was the dude who built it was like former president of intelligence services in the United States, government. He's like, I forget the exact position, but he was like an official dude. He was like started out like an Army Ranger, and then he got into intelligence and technology and stuff. So he was like a very high level intelligence tech guy in the government. And then he retired and started doing his own private company, doing technology stuff. And one of them was this building technology that would benefit people in, say, like Missouri, which is prone to tornadoes. So this building technology was supposed to be essentially indestructible, earthquake proof, tornado proof, hurricane proof. It was like an indestructible castle, essentially. And so he built his own personal one. I think it was supposed to be kind of like the flagship or the test model to show everybody, like, see it works. Like, yeah, I built it. You can come see it. It's everything I said it would be. But this house, it was bigger than the White House in Washington, D.C. It was a mansion bigger than the White House that was built to be this indestructible castle. And then there's other stuff that goes into it with conspiracy theories about underground networks in the area. And there was a lot of speculation around it. I even got kind of into it back in like 2013. I drove out to see how close I could get to it. Because you can see it.
Oh, you can, yeah.
You can see it from the highway. What they did was they planted a row of like pine trees. That spot off of 65 where you can look over and see it.
Oh yeah.
Right behind the safety rail, they planted a whole row of pines so that those pines will grow up and kind of block the view from the highway in the future.
And I think they're all dead.
Oh no. So
well, you remember,
I tried to get as close as I could. You can't. The closer you get to it, the less you can see it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's kind of on a, we don't have mountains, we have hills. So
yeah,
where 65 is kind of up on a ridge, and you can look across the valley or the draw to to the
Mm-hmm.
mansion. That dude, it's huge.
It's big, yeah.
Oh, mega. I have some buddies that have hiked. You can go through Busick State Park where you have the shooting range.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I got some buddies that have hiked up and gone and seen the house because there's
Like,
nothing going on with it. It's like abandoned now.
like I said, when I was into it, when I still lived there and I was into it, and I was looking on like Google Maps, zoomed in, and I mapped out that exact trail through the Busick Park.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, there's a little, you can pop in right through the back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
come right in.
But something happened, and then the guy claimed that Sad Berry was saying that the man claimed that the work wasn't done right, so it doesn't like represent his product correctly because the work wasn't done right. And it sounds to me like you probably have more gravy on this, but it just sounds like a huge grabble at this point. It just sounds like a money thing, and I'm not going to speculate on exactly. It sounds like something was happening with money, besides the house being built. You know what I mean?
He's gonna build something that is to showcase his company and what it can withstand. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He built it out of a flood zone. He built it where there are no tornadoes go through that area. They're always up here north.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nothing even happens where he's at. Some tweaker's going to steal all the metal or something. I mean, I bet you only the worst things that have happened there are like construction site tools have been stolen. You know, I mean, maybe they found some like weed growing in the woods out there or something. But there's
very likely.
but
see, it's abandoned now?
Pretty much. There's not much going on with it. When you drive by it, or if you look at it, you know, anyone I've talked to even about it, it's like, no, I haven't seen anything going on out there.
Wow.
They're building houses around it, actually.
Hmm.
That's like
it's really weird.
There's a subdivision out there that's called it doesn't matter. Some subdivision. It's a big, $300,000+ home, $400,000 homes.
Is it the one right after Busick Park?
Yeah.
I know where that spot's at. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Oh, it almost looks like they're building their own little town, essentially, is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's called Stone Ridge or Rock Ridge, something like that.
Something generic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very generic.
So,
Gunny, yeah. Isn't that Gunny Bear?
Yeah. He's in the chat tonight.
Was he actual gunnery sergeant? Was he a gunny?
I don't know. That's a very good question. Titty Bear wants to know why Gunny has not been on Hanging with Bears yet. That would be a great question to ask him if he were
Very
on.
good.
Say some more people have joined. I saw Bowlers in the house. What's up?
Oh yeah,
welcome. Longbows in the house. Rhino Bear. Who else is Spice Bear just jumped in. Welcome, Spice Bear. Stolen Honor Bears in the house. Welcome, dude. Plane Runners in the house. So now with the formalities, since it is your first visit to Hanging with Bears, what brought you to find Owen and bring you to the Unbearables community? How did you get here?
A couple years ago, I was watching. So I'm a barber, but I closed my shop. I started another business, and it was just too much time. I spent way too much time at the shop. So I closed my shop, and I've been doing another business. But a couple of years ago, I had a guy that came in who was like, dude, have you seen this guy? And it was some stuff from Owen on Twitter. And I was like, God dang, like this dude gets it. Like people have been telling me I'm nuts for years for saying this stuff. And now I got someone that I'm like, hell yeah, all right. I dig it. Almost like, before you got like cleaned up you were probably the same way. into some George Carlin, into some other guys who were like, kind of trying to say some truth, but at the same time, they're in the bumpers, they're staying in line essentially. But I really think that it was around the Twitter stuff, but I didn't know any streams. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know anything about any of it. I just knew that he was a comedian, and maybe right around 2.5 or 3 years ago, I had a buddy who was like, "Hey man, you watch this dude's streams?" And it was actually, there's a dude, Antiquitech Bear.
Okay.
That dude, he's a buddy of mine. And actually Ozarks Bear is a friend of mine. And I'm surprised they haven't jumped on here, because I know people that are on my Instagram can see that I'm live,
Right.
So I'm surprised they might, that's why there's other people that I know who have jumped on here like, "Hey, what's up?" But really it was about...
It could be anything. They might be busy with family or whatever. And it is Friday night. It is Friday night.
Yeah. I've been so crazy busy doing stuff. I haven't been able to watch a live. Used to, I'd put my earbuds in, or I had a Bluetooth radio in my shop, and I'd turn that on. Well, dude, I get 70-year-old, 80-year-old, 90-year-old men in there laughing their asses off at Owen,
Okay.
Like, oh, okay, I get it. This guy's funny. Who's this? Ask him who it is. It's like, yeah, dude, you need to check him out.
So you said that was 2 or 3, like 2019 maybe?
Right around the end of 19 is when because that's when he started working with me, and he's like, you listen to Owen, the Big Bear, I was like, what? The fuck are you talking, or what the hell are you talking about? Like, what?
Oh, okay.
He's like, this dude.
So you must have said something that was similar to the same opinion as like Owen, and he's like, you listened to him, but you hadn't.
Well, so I've known him over 10 years, and he's like, dude, I could have swore, because he had been watching Owen since probably 16 or so. Okay. And he's like, man, I could have swore you were on it, like you were in. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. And he's like, I heard you tell that dude he needs to have some kid, get himself a wife and have some kids and quit being a retard. I was like, so? And he's like, well, dude, that's what dude says. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So finally I saw that and was like, oh, we're good. All right, I'm watching. I'm in.
Nice. So you already have the same opinion as the things Owen was saying, and the guy put the dots together. And even though you had never seen Owen before, that's very similar to kind of how I got into Owen, except it was my brother. My brother was really into Alex Jones, and he learned about Owen through his appearances on Alex Jones. And my brother knows me and my opinions on topics of conspiratorial natures, because I got into that stuff back in 2012, and my brother only got into Alex Jones more recently, like 2017, 2018, around the whole Q, around all that stuff. And my brother wasn't really into Q, but he was into Alex Jones. And since he knew my opinions and kind of outlooks on stuff, he texted me one day and he's like, hey, have you ever watched this guy Owen? I'm like, no. And he sent me one of the full streams, and I watched it, and I was like, oh, okay. I actually had seen him once before in passing. I was on Blackpilled. Had learned about Blackpilled, and I was watching all the movie breakdowns, and then underneath in the suggested was Owen's clip of why didn't anyone protect Leonardo DiCaprio? And I clicked on that and I watched it. Have you heard this story before?
I'm trying to think of the guy's name. His producer when he was on that show when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Brian Peck.
Peck, yeah, and then he was convicted, and they hired him at Nickelodeon and such and such. But I watched the video, and I was already years into truther stuff, and I watched Owen's like 7-minute clip about Leo, and I was like, dude, this guy's on it. And then I read the video description, at that time, he used a copy-paste video description that talked about his experiences in Hollywood, his credentials and stuff, and no mention of anything that had happened as of late that got him to talking about tech on YouTube. You know what I mean? So I couldn't connect the dots, and I was looking, I was like Jay Leno and Adam Sandler and all these credits and stuff, and I'm like, you keep talking about these kind of topics, you're not going to be working in Hollywood for very long. Because I didn't know he had already been blacklisted from Hollywood at that point. But I didn't know that because the caption only talked about Hollywood, and then he's talking about truther stuff, and I was like, that's interesting. And I moved on. I'm not gonna lie. I was into black-pilled videos, watching the movie breakdowns. So I was like, after that one, I just went back to the next black-pilled video. I didn't think about it much. And then it was maybe a month later, my brother texted me about Owen, and he sent me probably one of the most recent full streams at that time. And I watched it, and I was like, oh wait, this is that dude from the Leonardo video. I remember him. And yeah, I'm definitely on it at that point, because the Leo clip was an old clip from Saranac Lake, and when I started watching him, he was already in Washington at Ursa Manor, and he had already had, essentially the beginnings of his homestead going. He had 4 goats, and he had some chickens, and he was getting started, and I was like,
that was a few years ago.
Huh?
So that was a few years ago.
Yeah, it was 2019. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that one of the first I watched one that dude brought up on his phone, and I watched the whole live. Right? It wasn't live; it was a replay.
Right.
I don't know what it was from, but that whole one, he was outside. That's when he did the eyeball, like evolution, and the eyeball would have been, like sand. Everything is degrading. Everything just, goes to trash or turns into sand or grit or whatever. Everything erodes, But how can you explain the eye if you weren't created? If you haven't been created, how can you explain that? It's not evolving or whatever. It's,
I've got one.
I do have a beard, baby. I've had a beard since I was like 13, 14 years old.
Oh, it must be nice. I've got a funny story about that, but I want to say what's up to Stuntman Bear. I didn't see you come in, dude. Welcome, Stuntman Bear. Welcome, Tim Beanie.
Does Bear Pelagic, did his Instagram get hacked?
Yeah. I don't know what's up with his Instagram. I've seen he has at least at this point, I know some of his accounts were hacked, and he started making new ones, but it's like I'm seeing a new Bear Pelagic account every day in the little recommended thing, new to Instagram. It's like, oh, it's like another version of Bear Pelagic. I don't know, why does he need that many? I was gonna say about the whole evolution thing. I find this interesting. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody make this point before. One of Owen's talking points about evolution is eyebrows. Remember how he talks about how it's one of the examples they use that the hunter that developed the eyebrows kept more sweat out of his eyes, so he was a more efficient hunter. So that increased his survival rate, and so that's where eyebrows came from. Okay, you have to rewind it back. By this model, we evolved from monkeys that had what? Hair all over their face and here. So in order for a human to get to a point of bald and no eyebrows, the monkey would have to completely lose all of its hair for the human to have no eyebrows and then to further develop the eyebrows. So by their own model, if only the advantageous features are passed on, then the monkey never would have developed into a bald-faced human,
Sure.
no eyebrows human in the first place, for there ever need to be a reason for humans to develop eyebrows. if it wasn't a desired feature, it would. It just seems like it to me. It just seems like another hole in the evolution argument. Like if they're really saying that, if that's like really like a college level argument for evolution is humans developed eyebrows, I would say, why were they having no eyebrows in the first place?
Yeah, that's stupid.
If they developed from monkeys.
Well, we would have kept our toes if we were monkeys. We would have kept. I mean, would you have not been able to keep shit with your foot if you could already do it?
Much more advantageous. I think I don't know. Okay, men. I don't know about you ladies, but men, I'm sure we've all had that thought at one point of what would it be like to have hands or feet like monkeys. We've all had that thought. For sure.
I don't. I think they. It's just I'm not really a fan of. The weirdo. He does a bunch of good videos. He's kind of weird. I don't know if he's into like some kind of meditation shit or whatever. It's but he does the one that's like evolution and dinosaurs. God, I want to say the guy's name, not Tim Pool. It's some dude like that. Does a pretty good video, and I think he's into Buddhism or some stupid shit that's just retarded, makes no sense. But whatever, to each their own. I mean, but he does a pretty good one on the dinosaurs, and so my wife is pretty like if I'm gonna find it. Yeah, she'll find it. If she's going to find it, she'll find it. She'll research. She doesn't.
Batman Bear, what's up? I missed saying what's up. Welcome, Batman Bear. Thanks for joining us, dude. Batman Bear said Ken something. I know. Is it Ken Ham? Like Hamm?
No. Oh, you know the guy. It's
okay.
Man, I can't think of his name.
Savannah? Eric Dubé?
Eric Dubé. That's it.
Okay.
Who said, I can't. I'm trying, my eyes are like, I'm trying to look at comments and yeah. Someone just shouted out from the audience, will you?
Mm-hmm. Savannah, Eric Dubé.
Dubé.
Yeah.
So that dude's weird, but he does a good video. A couple of those are pretty interesting and dude, it's legit. It checks out. All those guys that were like, oh, hey, we found this missing link. Look at this. That's all BS. And you look into it, you can just Google or, I don't know, DuckDuckGo or Yazoo it, whatever the shit it is. It's, all those guys are BS. They're all full of it, Eric Duguay, exactly. Eric Duguay. He is a freak.
Just gonna say something real quick. What's up to Bear for All Seasons. I didn't want to leave you out. Welcome, Bear for All Seasons, and welcome, Zezzy Bear. Thanks for joining us. Good evening. Sad Berry, just a left hook out of nowhere. Anybody ever tell you look like Seth Rogen? How many times? I was gonna say, how many times?
They say I look like Seth Rogen and sound like Kevin Smith, is what I've heard.
Dude, they're right. I didn't even pin that one. I'm more of a visual, but yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm like a faces guy. I like to be like, he looks like him. But Seth Rogen with the voice of Kevin Smith.
Yeah. I can see Seth Rogen a little bit. He has a pretty heavy underbite.
Oh, okay. I hadn't noticed.
And what, man, I'll tell you what. I've been into conspiracy. I've always called it alternative ideas or alternative, like hypothesis.
Yeah.
I'm the kid. I was like, my son is 6 years old. And when I was 6, 7, and here in Ozark, there was a grocery store called Murphin's. And, every grocery store when you're a kid, you could go in there and buy cigarettes for your parents or whoever that, it didn't matter. But they always have like the National Enquirer. I don't know if it was just kids who bought those because I've never met adults who owned them. I bought those as a kid and my parents let me get them. So in X-Files, the first episode of X-Files, I was so jacked up to watch that because I saw it coming on. And I was young. But when we lived out here, you're pretty much a product of antenna TV at that time. You don't want to go roll around in cow turds and, like, it's what you do. I'm not interested in doing it. It's not fun just to go hang out in the fields. But always been into that kind of stuff, right? Like my entire life. Mm-hmm. And so then you start maybe 5, I had a son, right? 6 years ago. Dude, that happened. I instantly thought that if you were with a woman and you didn't have kids, you were basically gaslighting as a heterosexual. Mm-hmm. Like you were full of shit. Like if you weren't trying to have kids, choosing, like vanity or just, we want to go to some weird orgy in Spain or something. Like, I'm like, why won't you have kids? Have some children.
I know people like that. And it's always, it's like Idiocracy. It's like the opening scene out of Idiocracy, where it's always the professionals. It's always the collegiate professional yuppies that are, supposed to be like the cream of the crop. And they're like, oh no, we want to travel. And they just get fur babies. They get a dog and treat it like a child, a child that they can put in a kennel when they go to, when they go to Peru or what have you, to Machu Picchu.
And then, 5 years later, you're like, oh, hey, how's your son? And they said, you mean my daughter?
Right.
They're crazy. I mean, I can't believe some of the stuff these people do. But once you have kids, you realize, like,
definitely.
Even my parents, they freak out because we're not public school. We homeschool. Well, he doesn't have to do 8 hours of work. He can do an hour and get just as much out of that. Mm-hmm. And, yeah. Well, you're dealing with people who were old timing, born in the 50s, They grew up going to Disneyland and they wore suits and dresses.
Right.
We're all from California. Oh.
Just before I lose my thought and before we get too far away from it, I wanted to go back to you're saying about Eric Dubé did a good dinosaur hoax video. And yeah. I was gonna add to, I didn't want to just leave you out there on that one, because I did watch some of his Flat Earth material back in like 2015 when I was getting into it, and most of his work is good. I'll say that, for all of his, being a guy that lives in Thailand and doesn't believe in God and all that stuff, which is but the informational videos he does on topics are usually pretty well done. And he did one. Yeah, he did one more recently about the transgender push, transgender agenda. And he went into all the details about Teva and everything that goes into it. And just the psychological conditioning to get little boys to that point to where they think they're little girls and all that stuff. And, he does good work. The thing is, it's that he's made videos about this is why Jesus isn't real. He'll have like a whole 2-hour video about Jesus is fake because it's just an allegory for the sun. It's like, yeah, the allegory with the sun is there, but is that not like a sign of a bigger work at play, But that stuff, I'm not so much a fan. His atheistic stuff and his yoga and living in Thailand and whatever he's into. I don't know, but his informational videos are good. Yeah.
Yeah. Who moves to Thailand? Like who moves there? Like we know what you're doing in Thailand. We know what you're going to Thailand for.
The food, like, right? It's
yeah.
The food, right?
The people are amazing.
That green Thai curry.
Yeah. Oh,
welcome,
man.
Salt and Stone Bear. Thanks for joining us. So back to what I just wanted to cover. I wanted to go back and finish off the thought I had about Eric Dubé, but back to what you were saying about you kind of always been conspiratorial minded. I think I have too. Growing up in the 80s, you were originally from California, and transplanted to Southwest Missouri. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, transplanted to Southwest Missouri. And for me, growing up in Dallas in the 80s, it was kind of like I would think about stuff about the way we were living at the time, where everything was instant. You know, everything was instant. You know, pop the top and go, and hairspray everywhere, and and that was probably more of a psyop to make people think that hairspray was ruining the ozone layer. But I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was thinking about, you're spraying this stuff in the air and then you're breathing the stuff in. What is that doing to you? You're putting you're putting deodorant chemicals under your arm. What is that going to do to you? And thinking of knowing, even as a child, knowing that these are all recent developments, that for thousands of years before that, people didn't have this stuff, and wondering what's that stuff going to do to us. And I would also, one time in particular, we lived on the same road as my grandparents, but like down the road, that further down the road, but it was on the same road, but it was further down. So we lived there, and I was looking up in the sky one day, and I noticed that one airplane had gone across the sky and left this big, long, white trail. And another airplane was going, and it was leaving no trail. And I was wondering, why is that? Why is the one plane leaving a trail and the other one's not leaving a trail? I didn't have an answer, but I was noticing the observation. Now we have the answer for it. And so I've also heard truthers be like, oh, there was no chemtrails in the 80s. I mean, maybe in your area, that's true. But in my area, in this no Mandela effect bullshit, in Dallas, we had chemtrails in the 80s, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I remember them. So tell me about your experience growing up in California. How was that? And then how old were you when you moved to the Ozarks?
Dude, I didn't transplant. I was born there, and we moved here when I was like 6.
Okay, 6 years old, very young. Okay, so
I'm straight hillbilly. I am from Missouri.
Yeah, okay. And even myself, I moved when I was 12, and I consider Missouri my home now, even though I was originally from Texas. Spent more time in Texas than you did in California, but I spent more time in Missouri and became more connected to it. But
we would go back for vacation to see a family, but eventually all of our family, except for like a great aunt, there's a few relatives who still live there, but pretty much everyone's moved out here or died. Like they did.
All right, that's good. So
there's a few dudes on here who could tell you that I have been into this shit as long as they have known me. Absolutely. And longer than they've known me. A long time. Dude, probably 20 years, 25 years maybe, something like that. Like I know 60-year-old dudes who are like, I've been doing this for 30 years. And it's like, I'm only a few years behind you, dude. I'll be doing it for like 40 some years when I'm their age.
So what was the first? Yeah, go ahead.
There's so much. I didn't really get into computer stuff until, and we don't even own a computer anymore. We don't use internet. We don't have any of that. Only our phones. But there used to be a deal called Freedom Talks. Someone probably knows of it. It was an online forum. It was kind of a forum, and you would listen to different online radio shows.
Okay.
And, dude, you would get it was like Coast to Coast in the 90s. Mm-hmm. You hear crazy stuff. And man, some of that stuff has to be true. I'm not into the alien stuff. I think all that's just gay and stupid. The alien stuff doesn't make any sense. But I used to be kind of into it, like, oh, what is this? What is this? Well, dude, it's all from here. It's all man-made.
Yeah. Or
junk. I really don't believe any of that stuff comes from outer space. Now, I'll tell you, a couple months ago during the summer, well, shoot, that would have been 6 months or something. We were outside, my son, my wife, one of her friends, and it was dark. And we said, "Whoa, what's that?" And a bunch of lights just shoot straight up in the air. Like they were flying, getting brighter, brighter, and then they shoot up in the air. I'm not impressed. I really don't care about that. But it was interesting. That's neat to see. It's like, oh, what is that? You wonder. You hear people there, oh, that's the Starlink. That's Elon Musk. That's his Starlink satellite balloons. That's all that is. And I say, oh, balloons. So they're balloons now? Well, no, they're satellites. But you just said satellite balloons. So they're not balloons or what? You start showing people that these things are balloons. Yeah.
Connected to balloons.
Sataloons. No.
So what was the first big conspiracy you kind of got into and when?
I think probably junior high and fossil fuels.
Okay, that's a good one.
Probably junior. I remember and there's a buddy that was on here earlier. This is crazy. This is a synchronicity. I was giving him some stuff at his barbershop, and a guy was in there, and his wife was my teacher in junior high. And I was talking to him about that, and I was like, dude, she thought she was the only one who was like, oh, he's not nuts. When I was like, fossil fuels is BS because we have dinosaurs, and they say they all died at one time. They've been pumping millions of gallons. Dude, there's not that many dinosaurs. Like that, I don't think that doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly. It's a finite resource
they pulled fossil fuels not too long ago of saying that it's not made from fossils. I know a few years ago they talked about that and said, "Oh yeah, it's a fluid," or you hear like used to hear on Coast to Coast they talk about oil is everywhere. It only matters how deep you go. Like water, there's a water table. Like the ocean is at a water table. Well, here, just the way that works. You know what I mean? Like you can keep digging a hole and you'll get water no matter where you are. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, man. I'll rabbit hole on this and just keep. The whole thing doesn't make sense. Fossil fuels is bullshit. If anyone wants to talk about it, you're retarded.
It's like these dinosaurs turned into oil and these ones turned into bones.
Yeah.
Well, which is it? Why or how? It's so inconsistent. So you start seeing the lies behind fossil fuels in junior high. What would you say was your next one after that?
Oh. After that, just everything. That was that was right after the X-Files stuff. And I was into the Inquirer.
Yeah, X-Files.
Yeah, I was really into that Inquirer. So I would see like JFK was my long lost lover. And I remember there was one of those that said JFK's ex-husband or something. And then it's so crazy when I see old Lim.
Yeah.
You find Lim and information about Lim, and you're like, oh my God, you nasty. What are you doing? It kind of ruins things for you. You're hoping some of these dudes were solid. If people only knew how Bob Saget really was,
Oh, geez, yeah. That's a crazy development that Owen shared the other day. I wasn't aware of, and I looked at the date on it, and I guess it popped a few days back, but we just all heard about it, about evidence that he might have been like bludgeoned to death. That's
raccoon eyes, something. Yeah, Owen showed it. Owen's talked about it. That's interesting. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. The family situation is what makes it more likely. Like it makes it more suspicious that the family is like, we don't want to talk about it. Let's move on.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they talk about it?
I don't know, man. It's crazy, but
it's like David Carradine.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
I mean, that dude, he was doing some weird shit. I don't think they didn't want anyone to find out about that.
What do you mean, like the autoerotic stuff?
Yeah, choking himself while spanking his, super weird. And he's
You know,
supposed to be like,
yeah, well, see, that's what I'm saying. You really never know with this Hollywood stuff like that because what if he was a good guy and he was doing something that they didn't like and they're like, we're going to take you out and we're going to embarrass you. No one will ever think of your name the same again after the dirt we put on you when we murder you. I'm not saying they did or whatever. I don't know the full story there, but you never know. There's angles to it. Whereas with Bob Saget, he was taken out, but they left his legacy clean. You see what I'm saying?
oh yeah,
And in the eyes of the general public, he's still America's dad. Whereas
still,
Carradine, it's like it seems likely that they could have, for whatever reason, to take him out. It could even be financial, like Randy Quaid. Remember when Randy Quaid went off like 6 or 7 years ago about somebody's trying to kill me because they kill these celebrities so that they can get their residual checks and their royalties, And
yeah.
you never know, but it seems likely that he could have been a situation like that. He might have pissed them off or they wanted his money and they kill you and they put dirt on your name by setting up the scenario where it looks like you were into, weird stuff.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I could see that for sure. It seems like a lot of work. I think they'd Paul Walker him,
Oh.
something tragic.
Well, what do you think happened with Paul Walker? Do you think it was like, I think the popular theory is that he was hit with like a missile, essentially.
Really?
You've not heard this one? Oh yeah,
No.
I heard the theory that they look at the amount of damage that was done to his car, and they're like, that's not from a car wreck. That's like something like hit it and it like broke into two pieces and like, it's just a theory. Simmer it, put it on the back burner. It's
yeah.
Whatever.
But why not?
Right,
A rocket. Yeah. That seems like a lot. A rocket. It comes from a submarine or something. Or...
I don't know the logistics of it. I don't know. A drone, maybe. Like maybe.
Sure.
Send a drone with a rocket just big enough to blow up a sports car. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have to be that big of a.
Just big enough.
Big enough to total a sports car.
His whole weird. That Kevin, the short dude, Kevin, whatever, the comedian, him and The Rock are butt buddies. That Kevin dude, his wreck was very weird. How he like goes home. He ends up at home after the wreck, and they're like, dude, he's bleeding out of his head or whatever. And the next day, he's like at a show or he's doing something like out in public, like no big deal.
Who's that?
Kevin, the little short dude, comedian dude.
Okay, Kevin Hart. He had a car wreck?
Yep. Yeah, remember that? He got in a car wreck and they said that, someone died, I thought, or his car was like destroyed, but he ends up at home and like laying on his couch and his wife calls or something. It's a weird deal, but I think there's a bunch of weird stuff that goes on out there. And there's so many movies filmed in that LA area. Things happen constantly and no one even knows. Like, no one even knows what's going on. They're like, oh, it's a movie. And dude, that's legit cars shooting at each other. That's not a movie. There's no cameras, but people don't even realize it out there. Mm. There's no, they don't sound the alarm when they're getting ready to film, 7 a.m. You live on Sunset, dude, you might have a helicopter and a tank and all kinds of stuff drive down the street.
We had some comments. Batman Bear said about Paul Walker's car, it could have been a freaking laser beam. But I mean, that's not, it's funny. Batman Bear's a very funny guy, but it could easily be like direct energy weapon or whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to necessarily be like an old school Tomahawk missile, but like direct energy or a drone or some shit. They think it was exploded. And Bowler Bear is also from from California, and he said he lived very close to where it happened, where the event happened, and he said it was suspect.
Oh, sure.
I'm guessing the general consensus of the locals was like, no, that's weird. That's not normal.
Very. Yeah, hell yeah, that's weird.
It's so hard to know with like the celebrity death and the whole sacrifice aspect to it versus faking it. Because that's the other common theories. It's either like one school is like, oh, they murdered these celebrities as like sacrifice to boost up this other celebrity. But then the other school of thought is, oh, they're not really dying. They're just like, that character is dying and they go on to a new character, they go on to this hidden island or what have you. And I it's weird. I think probably there might be a little bit of both happening. I don't think it's always one or the other.
Yeah.
There's definitely some weirdness to the way celebrities they always have like a family member or someone close to them die before they get famous, to the point where you'd have to be retarded to say it's a coincidence, you know?
Oh, all these guys, sorry, my glasses are smoked, man. Whew. Dude, Michael Jordan, look at all these different people. Yes. And then he got shot or stabbed. Turns out it was over a bet, over his gambling stuff. I mean, Michael Jordan, that guy's a turd. Paul Walker became Biden. That's funny.
Right.
And we know, Big Mama Michelle, that's a dude.
Yeah.
Have you seen the stuff? The guy talking about him and Obama. He picked him up in a limousine. Have you seen that video? That guy talking about that? He's in a court. Mm-hmm. He's doing it. I don't know if that's a deposition, but he's in court testimony talking about Obama picks him up and he's doing cocaine off of his penis and just very weird stuff, dude. Like very weird.
I don't understand.
Very
that.
Bizarre.
I don't understand. I've never, I've done drugs and stuff in my teen years and 20s and stuff. I've tried stuff, but I never got into cocaine or whatever. I'm not hip to that whole scene. So this idea of people like snorting coke off of other people's body parts, because you hear like Owen also make the joke in I can't. It's so late now. I'm having a brain fart. God damn it, Captain! That sketch. He's like, God damn it, Captain! How am I supposed to snort coke off of a pimp's dick so I don't blow my cover? That was so. There's that, and then the stereotype of snorting coke off of a stripper's ass. And these things don't make any sense to me. I don't know. I don't understand it. Is it some weird thing that affects their minds where it's like, I know what I must do next. Snorting it off the mirror, that's boring. You got to put it on a body part to make it interesting. Daddy, thank you. That's it. Thank you.
That was Bowler that said that. Hey, I think it's just the extreme. It's just trying to go to the next level. Trying to be crazier than the next guy.
Yeah.
Tim Pool's beanie. What do you want to talk about, fool?
Uh-oh. We got beef?
No, he said celebrity gossip. What do you want to talk about, Weasel? Come on, hit us with something. I'll talk about anything. And I get off topic, so keep me on if I get off. I'll talk about all kinds of stuff.
That's funny. Yeah, Tim Pool's beanie, he's usually pretty funny and not aggressive. He's been a bit aggressive tonight in the chat. I see a lot of the Bears are giving it back to him. But,
good times.
Yeah. It's funny. Celebrity gossip. Tim Pool's beanie. I mean, if you want to come on here and have a chat, we can do that. You know, I'll invite you on. You can come on here. But last time I checked, last time I checked, you won't even allow people to @tag you in the chats. So What's up with that? You know, I see you in Owen's stream, and I try to, at reply or whatever, and it's like, oh, Timple's beanie doesn't allow people to tag him.
Hey, is that Dimitri?
I have a suspicion it might be.
Well, you remember Honkler.
Mm-hmm.
Honkler, Dimitri, who else? Couple people. I mean, I love it when people get banned, dude. I'm like, yes, ban that son of a.
There was just at least 33.
Yeah,
make 33 accounts.
I'm back. Yep. Shuck, you want to talk weird? Let's do it.
One of them was Special Boy Bear or something. There was a bunch of them.
Love it. What time is it where you're at?
I'm actually up past my bedtime now. I'm having a great time chatting with you, and I was looking forward to this one. It's 2:07
in the morning.
A.M. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is. Because most people, the bears hang with bears. It's like an evening thing, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern time. And if I went any earlier, there's two things. For one, I have an autistic 4-year-old that's full of energy nonstop, like eternal energy. And he will be up on me and interrupting and everything. I can't do streams when my children are awake. And it would be too early in America. I'd be going, like, if I went live at 9 o'clock my time, it would be 4 p.m. on the East Coast. It'd be way too early. No one would be here to hang out and chat. I love hanging out with you guys. So it just kind of is what it is. So, 2 nights out of the week, I stay up late to hang out here, and I love it. And so
thank you.
Yeah, well, we might have to wrap it up soon because I do need to go to bed. But love to have you on and get into, dig a little deeper into some stuff, or just shoot the shit and or we can just shoot the shit and talk celebrity gossip for an hour.
Oh, for Temple's beanie.
Yeah, that we could do that. We could have a celebrity goss hour, like for real. But it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It looks so much like Seth Rogen.
I need to get a phone mount. I need to get a way to hold my phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm holding it with the old.
Oh, yeah. Your arm must be exhausted. I can't imagine how people do that. I know Owen does it. Usually when he would do, he used to do a lot of Instagram live streams and he used to be holding with like, man, your arm must get tired. Like I just said it. I have a little setup here. I put my phone on. It's nothing fancy, but yeah, like my camera stays perfectly still. So sometimes I'll adjust it. Sometimes I'll adjust it like this, but it stays still. I like that. I'm gonna get one of those. I'm a consistency guy.
Yeah, I never do the screen. I always take pictures. I've never hardly looked at myself in a phone. Like I don't. Barricade uses a selfie stick. I bet he does. Mm. Those are kind of weird because it makes it look like there's nothing in your hand. You can't see the stick.
Mm. And this hand is just like.
Your hand is just like up
awkward.
there.
It looks like you're holding somebody's hand off screen.
Yeah, it's a glitch in the Matrix.
Stuntman Bear. No, Stuntman Bear. You're the one with the little circle lamp.
He's got the lights, the shades.
Oh yeah.
Stuntman had hairspray and a brush on the nightstand.
We give him a hard time. Me and some of the other hosts would give him a hard time about the hair.
The best hair in the Hanging with the Bears hosts.
Poppa J Gunny wants to know: do you have a makeup light ring like Owen? No, that's what I'm saying. I'm accusing Stuntman of having one, but I've also said if I see a circular light. if I see a circular light reflection in the eyes of one of my hosts, or maybe even one of my guests, but if I see a circular light reflection in your eye as a host, you're out of here. You're fired. It's like Donald Trump style.
You're fired.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say with the exception of the lady host, because I consider that to be a very feminine thing, and I wouldn't want to see a guy host with that. Like anytime I see like a reel pop through and it's a man and he has the little ring of light in his eye, I'm like, you take dick in the ass, don't you?
Yes. Yes. A lot too.
A lot.
A woman, I can get it. You know, they're being professional. I get it. You know, they wear makeup and stuff, or some of them don't, but they're more conscious.
But that's what I said. I was gonna say an exception for the lady host, but then I take the thought a bit further, and I'm like, but do we even want, like, when I see that light, I just think like whore, like a whore, like, you know, do we want our Bertarian women to be looking worldly with these circular light things? Like, no, it's like, if you've got one, throw it out now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like, I see that circle. I'm like, they do this for a living. Like, they do this a lot, where they've invested into a light and a little shade. Maybe they got a little pop filter, you know.
No, the furthest I've ever seen Owen go, so far as like production quality, because he's very much, his thing is no production quality to a fault, and he knows that. I'm not talking out of school here. He knows that it's part of his thing. The most I've seen him do like production value or whatever is back at Ursa Manor in Washington, when he would be out in the sun. And he had that thing, you know, that photographers use to a little sunshade to block the. It worked. It was good. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hate on him for using that, because when it was up and it was in place, it was much better. But then the wind would hit it. It would knock it down. He would get frustrated. He'd eventually be like, fuck this thing, and throw it.
Yeah, damn it. He just
that was the last.
Down.
Yeah, that was probably the last straw. That was the last time he was going to make any effort for like production quality. It's like when the wind kept knocking that thing. He was like, damn it.
Son of a bitch. Man, I'm going to be honest. I really like, and I typically discredit anyone who says I'm going to be honest right off the bat.
Right.
But I am going to be honest. I do kind of miss some of those. I'm not a drinker. I used to drink a little bit. I've never been good at it, but I kind of miss some of those wild, edgier. I mean, it's still edgy. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm over the edge. I'm in. You can say anything and I'm down. But I kind of miss like the fireside or in the snow with the big fur. You know, I don't care if you're having a water or something, but there's just, there's something to that. I miss those kind of streams. I know he'll be doing more stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. The drinking is not really. I'm not that too into drinking, and I'm not saying I never have. Yes, I've been there. I've had my days, but it was always a social thing. It was always more of a social lubricant than I would never drink by myself or stuff like that. You know, I wasn't like into it like that. But
I think he was still so early on with doing the streams, even a couple years this early on, that's what it was. It was just a social, you kind of get loosened up, just socializing basically. Yeah. But I'm all for people quitting drinking. Like, I don't drink at all. I think it sucks.
Yeah.
But
I guess it was maybe it was like his social lubricant to get on stage in front of a bunch of people, So I'm not judging Owen or anybody else who used to be a drinker or maybe even is. I would recommend you don't. Like, your life will be much better without alcohol.
I've got badass bottles of whiskey in my cabinet. I don't drink it. Like, I haven't. I got some of them when my son was born, so those are at least 6 years old, and I don't buy any. I got people that give me jars of like moonshine. I've probably got 4 or 5 gallons of moonshine. Dude, I won't drink it. I'll give it to people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I do kind of miss those. But I mean, I'm all for people quitting. I think it sucks. But I'll tell you what, the last time he had those Huckleberry beers and got into the nipple salve, dude, I was laughing so hard. Man, my stomach hurt. It was bad. My wife was, she was dying.
Yeah, a little bit, especially once you're out of it and you don't have a tolerance, a little bit will take you a long ways.
Yeah. Oh, dude, if I have 2 beers, 1 beer, half a beer, I'm acting, like a 6-year-old.
Well, you know how they are. You know how they are there in Springfield's Greene County and Ozarks is Christian County, but it's obviously very similar vibe. You know how they are with the DUIs there. It's a racket. The whole thing is a racket. And the one example I like to point to is before I left, in the few years before I left to come here to Ireland, they made this big deal about Springfield was going to put all this money into a DUI task force to keep the streets safe. We're gonna take your tax money and hire all these new DUI task force guys to be out on the streets, taking out drunk drivers or whatever. And I'm thinking in my mind, if it was really about safety and keeping the streets safe, you'd stop selling fucking liquor in your county.
For real.
And
dude,
and
I'm not drive-through. We have drive-through liquor stores.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
and they put it right across the street from the school. Drive-through liquor store.
Yeah, it's liquor everywhere. It's sick. It's like, obviously, I've lived in a dry county once when I was in Texas too. I was a child then, but I kind of had a vibe for what it was like. You could only get it at a bar, or you had to drive to the next county over, and they would call it going to the county line because it's a dry county. All around the county line, just on the other side, in whatever county that's not dry, people will buy the land and set up liquor stores. So people would say, "Oh, I'm going to go to the county line." That meant you were going to go buy beer or liquor. So it's not going to completely get rid of the problem, but it's probably going to really, really fucking help the problem if you stop selling alcohol in your county. If you really care about the streets and keeping traffic accidents down or whatever, and reducing traffic collisions and whatnot, if you really, really cared about it, you'd change the policies to stop selling at all anywhere in your county and watch how safe the streets become. But they're not going to do that. Why? Look at all the businesses and families and everything that are propped up by alcohol,
Oh yeah. I don't think that if you did something with booze here, it's not gonna. People who are drinking and driving, either you're a good drunk driver or you are not a good drunk driver. Like I got buddies, they could have 30 or 40 beers and they're good to go. They can drive cross country. But I know a couple guys that they do not need to be behind the wheel, and they know that as well. What really is crazy here is like people overdosing on heroin, meth. Meth used to be the hot stuff, Now it's really heroin. A lot of these I don't know what some of it is, pills, like pill drugs, Percocet type stuff, whatever they're doing. They're shooting up. They're sitting at stoplights and they're shooting up and they're passing out and their cars are going through stoplights, or they're just sitting there conked over.
Okay.
Like I have a couple of friends who are paramedics and they get Narcan. Well, he said, dude, I mean, you got 20 Narcans a day, people overdosing. Like, oh, so that's a big deal. He said the booze is one thing. That's, it's not as big as it was. It's not the major issues. the major issues are like this crazy stuff, you know, whatever it is with some kind of. I don't even know. I'm not even that old, you know, like old, but some of this stuff like crocodile and some of these crazy drugs these dudes are, it's like nuts.
It's wild the way things, all these new stuff that started getting added after the 2000s and like K2, spice, whatever.
Fentanyl, yeah.
Fentanyl,
Yeah.
all it's like, where did all this stuff come from? But here's an interesting one for you. I was recommended on YouTube of all the things. I don't know why, but it was called the title was something like The History of Meth. It was like the history of methamphetamine video, and the channel is called Joshua. I think it's called Joshua Roberts. And I watched it just because, you know, like we've all watched Breaking Bad, and I you know, come from Southwest Missouri, whereas Sad Berry can attest to you is very well known for a lot of methamphetamine.
A lot.
Manufacturing, selling, using, it's a lot. So
we got the baddest meth in the United States. They talk about in Hawaii.
They call it 417, yeah.
Yeah, crystal. Oh, it's dynamite in Hawaii. It's the best. No, this shit in Missouri, you will be fucked up and awake for a month. There's a place just, you know, where Ava is. You've heard of Ava, right?
Yeah, Ava.
So you go like, I'm not going to say the town, but you go like 30 minutes or so past Ava, and there's a truck stop out there, kind of on the way to West Plains or Memphis, I guess. Dude, they've been running the same operation since the 80s. Same guys own the gas station, same deal. You walk in there, you go in the back, you walk through into the service shop where there's no service anymore. They don't do that. But there's a register. You pull up the deal in the register, and there's an envelope in there with all your shit. So you just leave your money. No, they don't talk about it. It has to be it has to be a referral. You have to be referred to by a friend. Okay. But when you walk in the shop, you just go straight back there and don't say anything. I know dudes who do this, right? Like, I know dudes who have been in this. It is, people come, truckers who are like owner operators. They don't have to abide by a lot of rules. You know, and meth, man, you can get it out of your system in like 12 hours. Unless I think they do a hair follicle test. So these dudes, I'm reading some of these comments. God, that's funny. These are guys that come from all over the country and know that place right there. Like, it's known all over for having the badass meth, basically. A quick story. Whenever I think we were 14 or 15. You know, you've heard of Chadwick, Missouri. It's like big for riding dirt bikes and stuff. Me and a friend of mine, there was 2 or 3 of us. We were riding 4-wheelers around at night. It must have been like midnight or 1 in the morning. So we're hauling ass all over the place, and dude in front of me comes around a corner and hits a sheriff's deputy car. They were doing a meth bust. So flips over the hood, wrecks, hits the car doing a meth bust. They freak out. It turns into a whole deal. Well, you see a couple of these tweakers come running across the street, and they're chasing them, you know. And this is in the middle of the woods, dude. There's nothing around. It's a county like fire road, essentially.
I have kind of a similar but different story about being out and bumping into law enforcement officers that were in the middle of doing something, and you kind of interrupted their deal. Yeah, that's a story for another time. But it was you know, right there in, you know, Greene County. But what I was gonna say about that video I watched, I was gonna recommend it to you. You might find it interesting also. And as I'm watching the video, this guy that does it, his channel, he's a lawyer. I think his name's Joshua Roberts. And if it's not, I can find it and send you the link if you need it, or if you can't find it or you're not interested or whatever. Guess where he's from?
Missouri.
Springfield. Yeah.
I know a Josh
He's
Roberts.
a local boy. He's a local boy, and he's like, for a lawyer, seems really cool. He said these days he only handles. He's like up there now, and he says he only handles like Fed cases, but now he does YouTube also.
Dude, I know a Josh Roberts. Someone said, "Nice bear. Here's that little bear."
Well, right. It's Missouri. It's the home of the Bears. I can't read it. If you've
If you've seen one bear butt, you've seen them all. I think someone gave that to me at my barber shop, and I didn't want to throw it away, so I just threw it on a nail that was in the wall.
Right on. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. Check him out because he does other videos on other topics similar. Like he has one on like the history of Coke, and he's really good. He goes in detail about from the beginning to now, and important stories and stuff. And yeah, he's a cool guy. Check him out on YouTube. And yeah, or I can get you the link if you need it. It's cool.
I'll look him up on YouTube.
Yeah. And yeah. So I'm going to wrap it up now. I really had a good time chatting with you. I probably would stay up more, but I am tired, and Mrs. Mama J Bear is kind of. I can see text messages coming through the top of the screen.
Her mama, man, she's giving you 4. This is the least you can do is help her out. All right.
Yeah. I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, man, you're welcome to come back anytime you want, and it was great meeting you. The only other thing I would want to add is maybe could you possibly consider changing the spelling of your name to Beary?
Man, so real quick, when I had my shop, I wrote a letter, right? And I put a couple things in the box, and I had this, it was kind of a small box, but I put this little box together, and I put some stamps on it. I haven't mailed anything since like elementary school when I had a pen pal. Okay. So I tried to mail something I tried to mail a letter basically to try and be bearable. Well, my truck got stolen. My whole work truck, all of my stuff, everything. So that really pissed me off. I just haven't had the gumption to be like, all right, I'm going to write another quick letter and put some goodies, and try and make it happen. But no, I'll actually get a name. I just haven't. Busy.
Well, what is it? What's your bear name? You have one on mind already. What is it?
So I have an Instagram that's Lowbrow Bear, but I kind of want Good Old Bear. Just kind of good old boy, good old bear.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Okay, now you have to send the letter before somebody else steals your bear name. There's some.
I know. Next time Bowler's in Springfield, dude, he's gonna kick me in the beans. Because he called me out on it. He said, "Send a letter, bitch. Like, send a letter."
Did you guys hang out?
No, he's working. He's always working.
Okay. Yeah.
We will. I'm sure we will. I'm sure he'll hit me up whenever he comes down.
Invite him to Leon's. I know he'll show up.
Oh, he likes Leon's?
Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying that's the only Chinese place I would ever eat. But it's worth the hype. Like Leon's is top shelf. They claim to be the originators of cashew chicken. People always say Springfield, yeah. People say Springfield. What's that?
It's just fried chicken, rice, and clam sauce.
Yeah, I don't like it. Honestly, I've never been into it. But a lot of people are, and people in Springfield take pride, like, oh, this is we invented cashew chicken. It's like, what'd you say, clam sauce with a few cashews in it. I've never, when I was a kid, I would eat sweet and sour chicken. And as an adult, I would eat General Tso chicken.
Yeah, General.
Yeah, the General's where it's at.
It's got some peppers in it.
A little, enough. But yeah, man, it's been great chatting with you. We'll have to do it again for sure. I like
anytime, man. And hey, if you end up wanting to do an earlier one or whatever, I mean, I'm down, dude. Anything, it's all good.
An earlier? What do you mean?
If you wanted to do it earlier, I know you're kids, so if you needed to do something earlier, I'm down. Whatever, you know.
Oh, okay. No, this is perfect because my kids are in bed. But
Okay.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well,
Awesome.
and thanks to everyone hanging out in the chat, and we'll see you guys next time next week on Hanging with Bears. Peace.